Well, I want to thank you for watching this video. It's about looking at what you get for your subscription training. Now, most people don't get full training on everything that they need over the course of a year, and I give that. And I want to go over what you get. So let's get started. We're going to do this in sections. There's going to be 5 sections. The first section is section 1, getting started. We want to understand what we call the category success system, and then the deal categories, action categories, and implementing the category success system. And we'll be going through the detail of that. The second section is the money category. Now, money category is introduction to creative finance strategies, and Unit B is the creative home buying strategies, and then the short sale strategy, and then finance strategies for selling properties, and then strategies for making money on 100% finance properties, and then strategies for getting money in cash back at closing, and financing sources. And we have a bonus chapter on credit repair. The next section is agreements category. Well, we've got about 6 or 7 different categories for agreements. We have a purchase and sale agreements, wholesaling agreements, retailing or rehabbing agreements, and then seller financing agreements, which include subject to, lease options, straight options, agreements for deed, and others. Then we have landlord-tenant rentals categories, and short sale agreements, land trust agreements, and then partnership agreements, which include joint venture partners and private lenders. The next section we're going to go through is contacts strategy category. And this has got to do with business contacts. You need business contacts with realtors and with lawyers and CPAs and so forth. And then you're going to need money contacts like bankers and hard money lenders and so forth. Then you also need investor contacts, which are contacts with other real estate investors. And the last section is where we implement a lot of our strategies and we actually get things done. We want to learn our local market, we want to find deals, we want to pre-qualify sellers over the phone, we want to view the property, we want to estimate repairs, we want to estimate a property's value using websites and so forth, and then calculating the deals, and then submitting offers, and then executing your exit strategy. So that's what the training involves, and we're going to go through some detail of that training right now. So getting started, we want to be able to, really talk about, can this really be done? And you don't need any money or credit. You might need other people's money or other people's credit. How can you buy your own home on terms, your current job, and becoming financially free? What the system covers, what the system doesn't cover, what is the category success system, and the action categories, and how the system works, why the category system is important. The deal categories, knowing your exit strategy, choosing the right exit strategy. And then we go through in detail what a wholesaling deal is and how do you get started as a beginner. What types of properties do you invest in as a wholesaler? What are the advantages and disadvantages of wholesaling? Then we get into rehabbing or retailing. The overview of how to retail a house. Types of properties to invest in. The advantages and disadvantages of retailing. Then we get into seller financing, and this has got to do, like I said, with subject to and lease options and so forth. It's got to do with the deal is in the terms, creating no qualified financing. Types of seller financing. Why sellers will give seller financing. Giving the seller debt relief. Buying a property subject to or subject to existing financing. Sellers who will walk away. What's it do on sale clause? How do we deal with it? Types of properties to invest in. What are the advantages of buying on subject to? What are the disadvantages of buying on subject to? What's a seller-held mortgage or a wraparound mortgage? What's a second mortgage? What's a wraparound mortgage? What's an all-inclusive trust deed or AITD? And what's an advantages for and disadvantages of a seller-held mortgage? Then we get into agreements for deed. What is an agreement for deed? Buying under an agreement for deed. Selling under an agreement for deed. Types of property to invest in. Advantages of an agreement for deed. Disadvantages of an agreement for deed. And then we get into lease options. What is a lease with option? Why sellers will do a lease option. When to do a lease option. Making money with sublease options or sandwich lease options. What are the finance terms? How do we create value with finance terms? How do we get up to 3 paydays? Types of properties to invest in with sandwiches. And then how do we deal with lease options with repairs? What are the advantages and disadvantages of lease optioning with repairs? What are the advantages in general of lease options? What are the advantages to the tenant buyer and to the seller and to the investor who's in the middle on a sandwich? What's selling with lease options versus renting out properties? What's the disadvantages of lease options? Then we get into standard options or straight options. What is a standard or straight option? What's your objective? How do you control with little or no money or risk to you or the seller? How do you present that offer? Types of property to invest in. What are the advantages and disadvantages of straight options? Then we get into landlording. Cash flow is king. Let the government pay the rent. Types of properties to invest in, the advantages and disadvantages of owning rentals. Then we do a quick review. What are the action categories? Taking the action in the right order, getting your ducks in a row, identifying your weaknesses. How do you implement the category success system? Well, you got to learn the system. You got to decide what you want to do and set goals. You want to take action. How do you get organized in setting up your shop? How do you make a space to work, your tools of the trade, action guide workbook, setting goals, quiz answer key. And that ends the first section. You usually end this section in 1 week's time. The second week we're going to go through is the money category, and this is the section's overview. What's the purpose of this section? How do we understand creative finance strategies, know the money sources, addressing credit issues, the truth about no money down. And then the introduction to creative finance strategies. The implementation strategies requiring no financing. Which ones require no financing? Well, we can go flipping, that's no financing, and we can use a straight standard option with no financing. Structuring deals around the existing financing. Many times we will offer, if there's an existing first mortgage or other mortgages, we will offer buying subject to, with a land trust usually, wraparound mortgages, agreements for deed, and lease options. What are investments that require new financing? When do you need new financing? Well, they're generally in rehabs and in straight rentals. Determining which finance strategy to use is so important. Factors that determine the deal category and financing strategy. The seller's needs. What are the seller's needs? Do they need all cash now? Can they take some cash and some cash later? Are there any existing financing? What are the property's condition and location? What are your financial abilities? Your personal investment goals? And then creative home buying strategies. If you are renting right now and you need a home, let's find you a home right now. How do you get creative? How do you get flexible bank loans? Now, what's a short sale strategy? What's the definition of a short sale? When and why lenders will do a short sale? When will lenders not do a short sale? Can I do a short sale with no money or credit? Properties that are good short sale candidates. How much do I offer on a short sale? Then we get involved with finance strategies for selling. What do we do when we're flipping, or we're doing a rehab, or we're doing lease options? Strategies not to use for selling and why? Strategies for making money on 100% finance properties. Don't give the seller any money. And we do subject to, agreements for deed, lease options, and short sales. Strategies for getting cash back at closing. Where does the money come from? Well, it comes from the seller and the money you borrow and your buyer. Financing sources. The seller as a source of financing. What is simultaneous financing? Selling note payments and future discounting. Banks. Important issues regarding conventional bank financing. Bank financing for real estate investors and bank financing for home buyers. Mortgage brokers. What is a normal brokerage fee? Pre-qualifying your buyers. Getting pre-qualified yourself. Loan pre-approval versus final loan approval. Hard money brokers. Hard money terms. Getting money for repairs. Credit requirement. Hard money is cheap. Documents required for hard money. Getting your wholesale buyers financed. Then we get into a different category, hard money private lenders. Private lenders are not money partners. Money partners versus lenders, having multiple private lenders. The money circulates, finding private lenders. How do you market for them? Now, working with money partners. When not to partner with someone. Determining to partner or to borrow. Very important. Then we get into another situation where we deal with IRAs. Using your IRA or someone else's IRA to buy real estate. What's a custodian? What's self-directing mean? You do not need money in your IRA to buy real estate. Growing your IRA without making contributions. Allowable investments. Prohibited transactions. Choosing the right custodian. Borrowing or lending money using an IRA account. Buying property using an IRA account. Buying discounted notes in your IRA account. Wholesaling properties with your IRA. Rehabbing properties with your IRA. Lease optioning properties with your IRA. Rental properties with your IRA account. When not to buy a property in your IRA. And how do you open up an IRA account just for real estate? Then we get into credit cards and lines of credit, supplementing your other financing sources. Bank credit cards, home improvement center credit cards, home equity lines of credit, or HELOCs, signature loans using co-signers. Then we have a special section on credit repair. Credit repair for real estate investors, your personal credit, and also your end buyer's credit if you're retailing. Or if you're doing lease options and you need tenant buyers to get their credit rating better. How do you understand your credit report? How do you get a copy of your credit report? Credit bureau contact information. Checking all 3 credit bureaus. Contents of credit report. Things that affect your credit score. How do you dispute things off your credit report? What is the Fair Credit Reporting Act? How does it let you dispute things? How do you dispute inaccuracies? How do you remove old information? How do you follow up after 30 days? Paying things off your credit. Dealing with charge-offs. Paying off overdue accounts in a lump sum. Making monthly payments as a payoff. Things to know when you're negotiating. Past bankruptcies. Defaulted student loans. Now, how do you build stronger credit? Strengthening your current credit references. Adding information to your credit report. Establishing new credit. Avoiding future credit problems. Letters to the credit bureau. Let's go through those. Letter requesting copy of your credit report. Letter dispute information on credit report. Letter remove old information. Letter remove spouse's information, especially in divorces. Letter remove unauthorized inquiries. Letter follow-up days, 30 days after dispute. And letter add account information. And then letters to creditors. We want a letter to report to spouses at good information, letter to dispute credit card charge, letter to dispute information on account, letter dispute amount owed, letter negotiate payment of charge-off, letter payment of charge-off at a discount, complaint letter to federal or state agency. Most of the time it's to the Federal Trade Commission or the FTC. And then we have the Garn-St. Germain Depository Act of 1982. Then we have an action guide workbook, to-do list, quiz, and quiz answer key. This ends the second section. We're going into the third section right now, which are agreements. It's a very, very deep section. We're going to give you the section's overview. We're going to give you an introduction, the purpose of this section, the overview of topics covered, the term contract, how we go over agreements and forms. The first one is your local state purchase and sale agreement, using your state-approved sales agreement. When to write up a sales agreement, filling out a purchase and sale agreement, the purchase price, what's a binder deposit, what are closing costs, the time for closing, making offers on bank properties, using weasel clauses to get out of contracts, seller's attorney review, documents to include with your offer, include your contact information, memorandum of agreement, required lead-based paint disclosure. And then our agreements are purchase and sale agreement, memorandum of agreement, seller's landlord disclosure, lead paint hazards. Then we get into wholesaling category agreements. Assigning your purchase contract, setting up a double closings on REO bank property. And the agreements we use are assignment of agreement, double closing a sample purchase HUD, double closing sale on a HUD, double closing purchase of bank property HUD, double closing hard money HUD closed property separately, authorization to release loan application status. Then we get into rehabbing or retailing category agreements. What's a contractor agreement look like? What's a listing agreement look like? Once you've sold the property yourself. Lead-based paint disclosure, authorization to release loan application status. A contractor agreement, what does that look like? Addendum to listing agreement, authorization to release loan application status. Then we get into seller financing category agreements, and there's subsections. The first subsection is subject to the purchase and sale agreement, the seller's due on sale acknowledgement, quitclaim deed to trustee using a land trust, get an authorization to release mortgage information, get a limited power of attorney, updating the insurance coverage, controlling the escrow account. If the mortgage company calls the loan due, what do you do? And then we have these agreements. We have an addendum to purchase and sale agreement, quitclaim deed to trustee, authorization to release mortgage information, limited power of attorney regarding real estate, insurance letter, adding additionally insured, escrow letter, and letter to mortgage company. The next section is seller-held mortgages. Seller-held mortgages is using a wraparound mortgage, drafting the mortgage documents, terms to consider, a wraparound mortgage, mortgage note, wraparound mortgage rider. Then we have an agreement for deed. Agreement for deed document, making sure that the payments are made on the seller's mortgage, adding yourself as additionally insured, checking the title, recording the agreement. Don't sell under agreement for deed. You can buy under agreement for deed. And this is our agreements. Agreement for deed, authorization to release mortgage information, collection account agreement, insurance letter, adding additionally insured. Now we have a big section on lease options. Lease options when buying, lease options when selling. Let's go over lease options when buying. Agreements used. Setting up a lease option agreement when buying. The purchase price, the payment amount, getting rent credits from the seller, deposit amount down, the term, preparing for a sandwich lease option. How do you protect yourself with a lease option? What does the lease option agreement look like? What's a collection account agreement? Lease option deposit receipt, insurance letter adding additionally insured, notice to renew lease option, notice to exercise purchase option. Then we get into agreements for selling on lease option. There are two separate agreements when you're selling. Factors to consider when doing sublease options. What are the agreements used? The lease agreement, the lease payment, the term of the lease deposit, the tenant's purchase option agreement, the option fee, giving rent credits, requiring disclosures, sublease optioning with repairs. Advantages of lease optioning with repairs. Disadvantages of lease optioning with repairs. How much work is too much? Drawing up the repair addendum agreement. Paying for materials. Protecting yourself. Avoiding lease option pitfalls. Common mistakes. Tenant buyers. Well, what if? And here are agreements. The lease agreement, the tenant's purchase option, the repair addendum, which includes loan for materials, repair addendum, tenant's responsibility, tenant's lease deposit receipt, receipt for tenant's non-refundable option fee, and authorization to release loan status. Now, standard options. What's the option fee? What's the term? Seller's right to continue marketing, exercising the option, standard option agreement, notice to exercise option to purchase real estate. And then we go into rentals and landlord agreements, the tenant's application, denial letters, the standard lease agreement, the section documentation, moving tenants in and out, itemized security deposit deductions, offering a rent discount, giving notice of past due rent, rental application, application denial letter, standard lease agreement, standard lease deposit receipt, move in and move out form, itemized security deposit deductions, prepayment rent discount, notice of past due rent. Then we go into short sale agreements. There's two sections of the short sale agreements. One is setting up the purchase with the seller, short sale disclosure form, get a quitclaim deed, two different purchase and sale agreements, giving the seller money as part of the sale, the escrow letter, the seller's hardship letter, authorization to release mortgage information, limited power of attorney, going over the documents with the seller. And then when you do the short sale, you contact the lender. What do you say to the lender? What do you not say to the lender? Dealing with second mortgages and junior lien holders. Then the short sale package. What to include in the short sale package. What not to include. Your cover letter. What does that look like? Authorization to release mortgage information. The initial HUD-1. Provide proof of funds. Seller's pay stubs, bank statements, and tax returns. Listing agreement. Financing denial letter. Repair estimates. Supplying comparable sales. Ordering a BPO. Submitting the package. Waiting for a response. What if the bank says no? Short sale disclosure. Quitclaim deed. Bill of sale for personal property. Sample hardship letter. Authorization to release mortgage information. Limited power of attorney regarding real estate. Sample short sale letter from lender. Sample cover letter to lender. Sample counteroffer fax. Then we go into land trusts and land trust agreements. And we find out what is a land trust, what's the purpose of using land trusts, what are the benefits of using land trusts, what are the disadvantages of using land trusts, the documents involved, filling out a trust agreement, preparing the deed, about the trustee, about the beneficiary. Beneficiaries agreement, what does that look like? Operating a land trust, selling a trust property, using a land trust as a real estate investor, using a land trust as a homeowner. Then we go through in detail the trust agreement, the warranty deed to trustee, the beneficiaries agreement, the assignment of beneficial interest, letter of direction to trustee, resignation of trustee, notice of termination of trustee, affidavit of resignation and appointment of successor trustee, trustee's affidavit. The next set of agreements are partnership agreements. There's two kinds of partners. There is a money or credit partner and there's a private lender. Definition of a partnership, forming a partnership, partnering under a land trust, joint ventures, limited partnerships. What about general partnerships, joint venture agreement, limited partnership agreement? Then action guide workbook, to-do list, quiz, answer key. Section 4 brings us to contacts category. Table of contents, sections overview, introduction, purpose of this section, building a contact team. So we're going to first go through business contacts. There's title companies. You got to find title companies that understand real estate investors. Title companies as a source of contacts, questions to ask title companies, then we go through real estate agent contacts. Real estate agent versus a realtor, a buyer's broker versus a seller's broker, understanding brokerage commissions, what is the MLS, identifying the right real estate agents, things to say when talking to agents, things not to say when talking to agents, questions to ask. Appraisers, subject to appraisals, finding the right subject to appraiser, standard appraisals. Contractors, types of repairmen that you'll need. Using unlicensed repairmen, what's the risk to that? Finding quality repairmen, drawing up an agreement between repairmen. Other business contacts. You need insurance agents, accountants, attorneys, a termite man, surveyors. Money contacts. Local bank lenders. Local banks can have great rates and fees. Locating the right banks. Questions to ask. Then mortgage brokers, regular mortgage brokers, questions to ask mortgage brokers. Hard money brokers, questions to ask hard money brokers. Private lenders, finding private lenders who are already doing loans. Questions to ask private lenders. Finding potential new lenders. Answering a new lender's questions. How do you answer them? Sample letter for a private lender with a loan in foreclosure. Sample letter to a private lender whose loan was recorded at the county courthouse. Partners, money partners, finding partners. How many partners or lenders should you find? One partner or lender per deal, and why? Then other real estate investor contacts. Investor associations, other investors, working with other investors, creating buyers list, locating other investors, questions to ask investors. Action Guide Workbook, building business contacts, money contacts, investor contacts. Quiz answer key. The last section is section 5, the real estate category. The overview, the introduction, staying focused on the category success system, an overview of topics covered. It's so important that you learn your local market. You need to be able to walk through a property and know what market rent is and know what the property will sell for. We need to understand wholesale deals, retail deals, seller financing and lease options deal category, rental deal category, studying other investors, finding deals, getting started, what makes a good investment. It's a numbers game. Then business cards. What should your card say? What do you do with your card to get deals? Other investors. There is money in it for everyone. Locating other real estate investors. Then FSBO ads, identifying all your local papers and the internet, newspapers that are online, becoming a subscriber. When, where, and what to look for. Placing I Buy Houses ads. Ad suggestions. What days do you run your ad? Answering ad calls. What to use a real estate agent for. Using the right real estate agents. Getting access to the MLS or the multiple listing service. What do you search for? Expired MLS listings. Foreclosures. Understanding the foreclosure process. Phase 1 is pre-foreclosure, before the foreclosure. Phase 2 is the foreclosure auction. Phase 3 is bank-owned REOs, post-foreclosures. HUD and VA foreclosures. Then we go into vacant houses. You have no competition. Looking for vacant houses. Once at the property. Tracking down the owner. Hard to find owners. You found the owner. Now what? Condemned properties. Why does a property get condemned? Getting a list of condemned properties. How do you contact the owner? Tax sales. What is a tax sale? Buying tax certificates. Pre-tax sale deals. The tax sale auction. What are auctions? Auction notices, getting on mailing lists, going to an auction. Then we move into probate. Probate is when you die. If you die, your heirs get your property. What is probate? Searching the probate legal notices, looking at the probate records, contacting the estate, buying property from the estate. And then we move into eviction listings. This is when somebody gets evicted as a tenant, and you go to the landlord. Why eviction listings? Legal newspapers, checking the courthouse, civil process servers, making contact, buying properties while the tenants are being evicted. Using the internet, the REI Skills website, real estate agent websites, investor websites, local resources online, bandit signs. What is a bandit sign? Should you use bandit signs? Car signs. Is a car sign for you? What should a car sign say? Bird dogs. What is a bird dog? It's a finder. Hiring a bird dog finder. How much should you pay a bird dog finder? Qualifying sellers over the phone when you get a lead. What does a motivated seller look like? What do they sound like? They're flexible sellers. Deal only with motivated sellers. What's your objective? Identifying the seller's needs. Creating a solution based on the seller's needs. Pre-qualifying the sellers over the phone. Can you steal it? Can you create no qualify financing? Starting at the top. Now this is important. You want to try to get the property subject to. If you can't do that, get a seller-held mortgage. If you can't do that, do a lease option. If you can't do that, then do an option the property, or a straight option. Is the seller ready to sign? When you view the property, how do you meet private sellers? What do you say to them? What do you say when you have a listed property with an agent? And what do you say when you have a bank-owned property with a REO? Seeing past the needed repairs. Estimating repairs. There are different types of rehabs. Estimating repairs properly. How do you do that? How do you do the exterior and the interior repairs? How do you draw up an estimate? Estimating the property's value. How do you find comps? Estimating the after repaired value. Methods for estimating value. Getting comps. Running the numbers. Calculating deals. Determining the exit strategy first. Calculating wholesale deals. Calculating retail deals. Calculating seller finance deals. Calculating rental deals. Submitting the offer. Submitting offers to private sellers. Submitting offers to banks. It's a numbers game. Don't sit around waiting. Have a follow-up system. Executing your exit strategy. Executing a wholesale category deal. Knowing what to flip for. Lining up hard money for your buyer. Calling your buyer's list. Running an ad. Showing flip properties. Now you've found a wholesale buyer. Closing the deal. What if I can't flip the deal? Executing a retail category deal. Getting the house ready to sell. Putting up signs. Running the newspaper ads. Answering calls. Meeting buyers and showing houses. You found a buyer. Getting the buyer to the closing table. Now executing a seller financing category deal. Finding seller finance buyers. Pre-qualifying seller finance buyers. Getting the tenant buyer to exercise their option. And then building a rental portfolio. Rehabbing rentals properly. Finding tenants. Screening tenants. Processing a rental application. Managing your rental properties. Now in closing, I just want you to know that you can do this. If you take action and put this system to work, and you continue learning, you never stop learning, and let us know of your success and send us an email. Here are some of the tools that we give you for this particular chapter. A sample business card, what to say on it, letter to expired listings, letter to pre-foreclosures, vacant property worksheet, vacant property notice, vacant property door hanger flyer, vacant property letter for out-of-town owner, condemned property letter, tax sale letter, probate file worksheet, personal representative, which is a probate letter, probate attorney letter, eviction listing worksheet, eviction listing letter, property information worksheet, motivated seller checklist, questionnaire, repair estimate worksheet, property value worksheet, offer calculation worksheet, cash flow analysis worksheet, sample fax offer letter, property marketing log, action guide workbook, to-do list, quiz, and quiz answer key. So I want to thank you for listening to this recording. Look at what you get for your subscription training. We hope that it has great value to you. It's enough to have for your business to last you at least your first year. I want to thank you very much for listening. I hope that if you're investigating this opportunity, you see the value in what we have. I look forward to working with you for 12 months, hopefully getting 10 deals at least within those 12 months. Bye for now.